Across from you are the front doors. There is the bar to your right. You don't recognize this barkeep. He stands rigidly, his eyes roving and his fingers drumming on the top of the bar. A minstrel plays a lute in the far corner as a man and a woman dance drunkenly, swaying ceaselessly as they lean on one another. A serving wench with a stained apron maneuvers deftly between the patrons as she balances a tray of tall mugs of ale. Rohatia, the beautiful redhead you met the first day, sits by herself at the table in the middle of the room. She's dripping with jewels, more so than when you first laid eyes on her. She is from a golden wine goblet. She smiles and sways to the music drunkenly. A soldier sits at the other table to the side of the room. He looks vaguely familiar. His sword is laid on the table. A cloaked figure sits across from him, and although her back is turned to you, she appears to be a woman blessed on the size and curves of her shoulders. A scraggly dog runs about, sniffing. One of the patrons throws the dog a bone from his plate. The dog ignores it as he trots on to sniff an old man drinking alone at the bar. I'm dying, you realize. You feel no pain, but you're sure of it. You remember the battlefield like it is a dream. Egra, you say. There is no answer, but you can feel her somewhere. You look down at your chest, looking at your amulet. It is gone. In fact, everything is gone. You're naked yet again. Now what? You could do what you normally do and boldly strut up to the bar and get yourself a drink. Now to get the bottom of this... There ought to get to the bottom of this swiftly. Alternatively, you could stay in the shadows for a measure of time and watch. Finally, you can embrace your nakedness and get out there and dance. Well, it is our nature to stay in the shadows, so let's stay in the shadows, I suppose. There's something not right here, you think. A lot of things are not right. Skilled at using shadows to your advantage, you maneuver so that the light from the lamps and the fireplace gives you the best concealment behind the wood pile, while allowing others not to see the room well. From what has befallen the city, you'd wager the Green Dragon Inn would have been destroyed, or at the very least not open for business. These people you recognize, Rohatia and the barkeep, would be dead or be hiding. Now that you look upon it, there are some differences in the decorations. There are tablecloths now, long ones that drape down to only a few inches from the floor. Stone faces of the gods have been hung up along the walls. You recognize Nisa from his traditional likeness of Bull and Hayden, a god of wealth with his jowls and crown. You're sure you could recognize more if you took the time, but intuitively, you know time is not something you have much of. Something catches your eye from the periphery. It is the barkeep. You slink along the wall, still keeping in the shadow of the wood pile. Now you can see around to the entrance of the bar. Partially, there it is, a tail. It's a long, red, thin, naked, like a rat, with a nasty stinger at the end. Oh, fuck. As soon as I heard Stinger at the end, I just remembered that demon from the first game. Demon, probably. You creep back to regain better cover behind the wood stack. If the barkeep is not what he seems, then what of Rohatia? She's playing with her extravagant necklace with one hand while strutting about with her large, beautiful eyes. She bites her lip, then gulps down the contents of her glass in a single swallow. The shadow catches your attention, a shadow that shouldn't be there. It is moving quickly, appearing and disappearing as it goes, slinging past the dancer around the minstrel along the far wall and is gone. As you search for the shadow, you see the cloaked woman you'd noticed earlier had since lowered her cowl, looking long black hair cascades down. Kriya, it is not just Kriya that's familiar. The man across from her is the guard you saw her speaking to on the first fateful day. By the way, I was just thinking, the arrows that we got pummeled by, I'm sure they must be fired by the Duke's men at Salar, but since we transformed back and we were standing right there, we got impaled by them. The lanterns and the firelight sputter, and then everything is plunged into darkness. Your night vision is gone, or if not, then this is a magical darkness that cannot be penetrated. There's a snarl. Maybe it comes from the wandering dog, except it sounded much worse than a dog. The music stopped. Although your vision is gone, you have a good memory and sense of direction. What do you do? Well, are we supposed to recreate what we did? I'm guessing we are supposed to do that. I'm gonna go to Kriya and the guard. Morale increases too. Feeling along, you make your way first, feeling the stacked wood to the side in the corner of the table. Then there had been an empty table, you remember, straight ahead. The shouts in different languages. One voice to your right is speaking what you... Oh, we are in the abyss, I'm guessing. Your right is speaking what we should... As I said, we should not have taken the fucking staircase. I think the game did not give us an option, because the game knew that if we given an option playing the first game, we would definitely not have gone into outside of the staircase. There are shouts in different languages. One voice to your right is speaking what you recognize now as Abyssal. You veer a little to your left, hoping you will still find the right table. Then your hip presses against a hard edge. You hear the tattletale groan of table legs dragging over stone. Kriya, you say, keeping your voice low. Champion, comes a whisper. There's a sputtering of light. The lanterns are coming back and secretly dug under the table. The light is completely back. Sitting on the floor, you're facing what must be Kriya. She wears a dress under her cloak. Her legs are crossed at the ankle. You scoot as though you are completely under the table. You turn turned to see the guard's trouser. His legs are spread wide. Well, that was rather unnatural, says the guard, the voice muffled by the table above. Magical certainly, says Korea. I wonder what could have done it. The music starts again and voices pick up. The tones are normal, as though nothing had happened. Egra, you whisper at the legs. Egra had impersonated Korea before in your dreams. She had been naked that time. Now you are the naked one. Yes, champion. As you probably guessed, you find yourself on the infinite stairway. No, I did not guess that, you hiss. I don't know what that is, and I don't see any stairs. I'm using illusions to cover all that. We are on a large landing of the stairway, says Egra. Or the infinite stairway is a world connecting other worlds. It is rather complicated. Fine, well, I'll just take my leave then, you say. Stay hidden for now, says Korea. I'm not... Why is Korea talking now? I am not the only one searching for you. The bartender is some kind of monster, you say. Oh yes, that is an agent of Salar the Handsome, Galmegos' lord. If you remember, that is the soldier's voice coming from behind you. You are Korea too? Are you Korea too? You say, turning to speak through the table to the guard. Yes, champion, says the guard with a sigh. The important thing is that you found me and now it's time to go. Good, you say. There's a dog that I'm guessing isn't a dog and a shadow that definitely is not a shadow. One of Thog's of many abominations for the shadow, says Egra. I haven't worked out what the dog is. Maybe of the others are just illusion props that I made. Can you guess who the dancers are? Who cares? You say. Just get me out of here. It will take a minute before I can douse the lights again, says Korea. There are several parties interested in claiming your soul, and it takes some strong magic to work my tricks on the likes of these, even on a stage that I have set. The guard stabs his foot and says, and we are trying to have a conversation to blend in with these other props in this divine play. You could have made yourself more obvious. Yeah, this is actually better than if she had not created this illusion, because in the stairway, anyone would have come to us and we will have to deny them, because there's no way you want to go with anyone. Even if Egra shows up and is like, I am Egra, come with me, you don't want to go with her because you never know. We did that once and it was quite awful. You could have made yourself more obvious, you say. Obvious to you would also be obvious to the others interested parties I mentioned, says Korea. In case you haven't noticed, I have a preference for staying hidden, often in plain sight. As I alluded to already, it was I that arranged the setting. Normally, a soul goes where it belongs and skips this plane altogether. For those souls that are contested, it is simply snatched by the god most powerful and determined. What you are being treated to is rather elaborate. Fortunate for you, slaying a ballad gives some goodwill in the multiverse. Nevertheless, you should thank me. Otherwise, I expect you would be in the abyss or worse. This illusion was the best chance for me to get you back. Not that I'm complaining, but get me back for what? You ask. A champion enjoys suspense, says the guard. Fine, but what would happen if I had not chosen you, perhaps spoken to the wrong, whatever they are? Your soul would have been claimed by another, says a guard, but I knew you were too clever for that. After all, I was in your head, I know your memories. Well, someone else knows my memories. Rohesha is over there, the redhead with all the jewelry. I knew that wasn't one of my illusions, says a guard. I wonder who she is. Do you know, champion? You're the godling of trickstery, you say. Certainly all deception is useless against you. Not in the moment, says Kriya, a touch of bitterness to her voice. You suppose you could guess. A few ideas come to your mind. Who among the mortals might lay claim to your soul? It's definitely not Nisa. I'm definitely not that interested in him. God of Scoundrel is a good choice, but I feel like he's not going to bother with all that. I think I'm gonna go with Galmegos. Galmegos was hunting me on account of my part in his favorite succubus's demise, you say. Expect he would like my soul for some terrible fate. Picking a fetching woman as bait seems like something Galmegos would do, given his fondness for succubi. Galmegos is powerful, but perhaps not powerful enough to send an avatar here, says the guard. His lord, Slar, has an agent at the bar. I already told you that. Yes, why would Galmegos send an agent when his lord already did, says Kriya. I don't know, maybe to improve his chances, you whisper. Defensively, this is just a guessing game, one which I'm not particularly interested in. I do have other things on my mind. Danger of eternal damnation should not prelude a champion from taking part in sports, says guard. I don't agree, he whispered. Well, in regard to your poorly thought out guess, I'm guessing it's Cthulhu then. Our guess, says Kriya. I cannot know for sure anyway. We are all equals here, so if that redhead is an avatar Galmegos, I cannot tell by simply looking at her. Back, you mongrel, exclaims the guard. Below the helm of the tablecloth, you see a flurry pause, clicking towards you. The guard kicks out at the dog. The dog snarls and his paws clicking forward, presumably lunging at the guard. Back, I say. The guard is up, his boots pivoting and kicking at the dog, which snarls again. With snarls again, "This is unacceptable," he calls out. "I'm a patron and I'm paying for an enjoyable meal, not to be menaced by this cur. Looks like one of them has found you. It is time to take our leave," says Kriya. "Prepare yourself, champion." Kriya reaches under the table and grabs a handful of your long hair. The light in the room sputters and then you again plunge into darkness. Blind as you are, you allow yourself to be guided by the hard pull of your scalp. Feel the tablecloth brush by your face as you rapidly crawl out. Cheers scrape on stone and shouts are raised. The dog's snarl turn completely vicious and there is an undertone like a wild language that is definitely not canine-like. Soon you're stumbling at a jog, still being led by your hair. "Nikolai," comes a young woman's voice. "Come to me for endless pleasure." Her words fill you with warmth and yearning, yet this is dispelled by the pain in your scalp as you pulled harder. You hear what might be rusty hinges squeak. "No, stop." The voice seizes your muscle and locks them. You fall and all you can feel is more pain as you're now dragged across the floor. A second later, your world goes silent. Light returns, you're on the stairway again. Kriya is alone, there is no sign of the guard. Kriya is smiling to herself as she passes a hand over the door you presumably just exited from. She nods at the door. That should hold them long enough. Turns to you, grabs your hand and pulls you down the stairs. "Do you know what is through these doors?" you ask. "Nothing for me and you," says Kriya. "Not yet." She stops in front of the door on the side of the hall. She opens the door to reveal deep blackness. We have work to do. She pushes you through the threshold. I don't think she's allowed to do that. I'm sure you're not allowed to like push or pull or anything like that. I'm amazed that that is a thing here. All goes dark again. Sight and sound return, yet it is strange. The battlefield is spread out before you. Wreckage, corpses, and parts of corpses. Fire burn. You cannot smell anything. This is probably a blessing. Your lack of smell isn't the strangest thing though. It is that you are hovering in the air, maybe 5 meters above. Kriya is directly below, although you cannot see her face from above. You can tell it is her by her outlandish dress and her black long hair. She's leaning over someone. "Me, that is me," you realize. There you are, your pathetic clothing torn and bloodied. Your eyes are shut, your long hair is festooned out before you, matted with gore. "Rooster," she shouts as she shakes your shoulder. A Bane demon is slithering in Kriya's direction. He is missing an arm, but he has 5 more, 3 of which are wield gory blades. "Kriya, run," you shout, but you do not hear your words. Corpses around Kriya begin to twitch. A lanky demon, one horn cut. Yeah, her mother left her, by the way. One horn cut off and face smash sits up. "Nikolai," shouts Kriya. She begins fumbling inside her breast pocket, pulling out a vial with trembling hands. She unstoppers and he shoves it between your lips. "A healing potion will do nothing for the dead." It's Egra's voice. "That's strange. You can see the chain of the amulet around your body's neck down below, but you're up here, so how can you hear Egra in your mind? She's going to damage your excellent teeth by jamming the glass vial in there. You will yourself back into your body, and you continue to hover where you are, not moving. It's Kriya that needs to move. With Kriya being the only living thing nearby, the Bane demon has its eyes set on her, and he is slithering faster. "Kriya," you shout. There's a shimmering beside Kriya for the barest moment before Drala steps out of a fold in the air and pushes a hand upon her daughter's shoulder. Then they're gone. "Oh shit, she came back for her after all," says Egra. "Mother's love," they say. Below your body's eyes shoot open, but gone is the gorgeous deep brown color. For now, they are milky brown at best. Your pupils are small. Worst of all, you have very stupid, slack expression on your face. You watch yourself sit up and let out a long groan. "Nibble's scrot," you curse. "I'm not. Yes, you're a zombie," says Egra, "and I'm disappointed too because I was hoping for a ghoul as they are much faster moving. Alas, this is going to take a while." With Kriya gone, the Bane demon has turned and slithered back towards the front line versus the paladins. You don't see Yalmegas Azazel, however. Maiden Avis is visible from this higher advantage. She is front and center of the battlefield line with the demons. It is a bit of mess as both the demons and the Alathians are battling undead that are rising up within their ranks, even as they fight each other. Meanwhile, below, your body has gotten to its feet and begun to stagger along. "I'm leaving my sword," you shout, staring at the paladin sword that lies near where you had been. "That's very useful to me. I'm being an idiot." "Of course you're an idiot. You're a zombie," says Egra, completely mindless actually. "I will not tolerate this slack-jawed walking pile of meat. There is no way to treat a champion. If you won't fix Dick, make my corpse go to Avish. She shall bless me. She will kill you. A blessing is not what you'd get from her now," says Egra with a chuckle. "Besides, I have no control over your pile of meat. Rather, it has another master. Look at where it goes." As your body begins moans pathetically, it staggers straight towards the open doors of the Temple of Eternal Love. It is not the only one of the undead on this path. Rather, all the other zombies are heading this way, except for those near the living. Those undead are intent on killing. You're moving along directly over your body, drifting with no consciousness will of your own. When you will yourself to fly somewhere else, perhaps you ask for what? Perhaps ask for some aid from the Lathians in your plight. You cannot find that. You find that it cannot happen. It is as though you're anchored to your former body. Is this the purpose you had for me when you pulled me back from the staircase to witness myself as a meat puppet, a cruel joke? Egra chuckles. My sense of humor is more developed than that. You're now moving closer to your body, and before you know it, you are inside. At least you think you are. Your sight is a bit blurry, yet you can see that temple's doors ahead. Your hands are out in front of you. Even though the blurriness, you recognize your hands. Your senses are numb. You try to stop walking. It does not work. Indeed, you cannot even control where to look. At least. When you were a disembodied spirit, you could do that much at least. There's a sort of music in your mind now, singing, a woman's voice accompanied by the instruments you cannot identify. The music is growing louder as you walk. You're so distracted by the music, by trying to work out the strange words, that you only now realize that you're through the doorway of the temple. Only the dead may enter. You remember Iranova saying that. Egra, we are inside the shield. We are in the temple. Yes, my champion, says Egra, joy in her voice. It is time for us to face our destiny and pit our wits against the gods. I feel like Egra has talked to Anuxis at some point, and Anuxis knows of us and Egra. So starts with volume. Highest rank. Well, I was about to like go like highest rank. I knew it, but then I realized, yeah, I have cheated so much in this chapter by putting so many fucking points in my shit. So yeah, that is not worthwhile. I feel like I would have gotten rogue otherwise, or something like that. But that's it for this chapter. That was fucking amazing. I would like to settle out things with Kriya, because she is genuinely, now we died at that moment and she was still very much sad, so I would say that yes, Kriya is genuinely upset and genuinely regretful for her actions, and as does Kriya with people who genuinely as does Kira with people who genuinely regret. I will do the same and forgive her. Unless some shit shows up later with this like super maniacal and super intense plan, even after death she wanted to continue doing that for some reason. That wouldn't make any sense, but I'm guessing that she was genuinely sorry for her actions, so it's forgivable to some extent. Alright, that's it for this chapter. Thank you so much for watching. There's a link in the description to my Twitter. There's also a link to my Patreon. There's a link in the description to the game, the link to the background music that's playing, and I'll see you guys next time with chapter 21's best choices. Bye bye.